you can see us, because we sort of see ourselves. You see Mrs. Clark's old eyes squinting,
Right.
but we don't know if you see us. So how are you guys? Guess what? First of all, let's all take a moment and celebrate. This will be the last math video of the entire
Woo!
school year.
We are
Yahoo! That's
raising the
awesome.
roof.
All right, but
That's
we are, it is old school. Miss Warner is off task. Surprise,
I raised
surprise,
it too.
surprise.
It's okay.
All right, so we are going to talk about statistical questions, because the last little bit of sixth grade learning has to do with data, collecting data, analyzing data, and then displaying your data. But if you're going to collect data, we got to know what a statistical question is. Hey, how about you guys on the math assessment? How many of your kids raised their hand and asked what that word meant?
Dude.
I had a lot of kids tell me they didn't. Oh, Miss Grubber.
I wasn't here.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
How many did you have?
None!
We're going to answer that today. So good thing you showed up, because that's what we're working on today, is answering what is a statistical question.
That is a tough
That's
word
a
to
word.
say.
I can never say that.
Statistical question.
question.
It's tough. It's tough.
It is. So here, statistics, that big word right there, just means you're collecting, analyzing, and interpreting pieces of information or data. Okay, so a good statistical question, and you're going to have a data project we're going to talk about in a moment, but a good statistical question is a question that allows for a variety of answers.
Right.
So if I were to ask you, Ms. Horner, how you get to school, what would your answer be?
A car.
Is that a good statistical question?
Probably not.
Because there's only what?
One answer.
One answer. So look at the examples. This is good. How many text messages do you send each day? If we asked that just as of the three of us, would we get a lot of different answers? And it would also depend on the day.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Okay?
Yeah.
What about this? What is the height in feet of the tallest mountain in Colorado?
Well, there would just be one answer, right?
Yeah, there's only one tallest mountain, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
not a statistical question. What about this one? What is the minimum driving age for each state in the United States?
Oh, yeah, because it does vary in each state.
It does. That'd be a great one, right?
Mhm.
Right.
But how many people attended last night's jazz concert? No,
Yeah,
there's
one
just
answer.
one
Just
answer,
one
right?
answer.
It
Right.
might be a big number, but it's just
It's
one
one
answer.
Right.
Okay, so we kind of have an idea of what makes a good statistical question and what doesn't. We cannot have just one answer. So here's a little example, okay? You're going to do a bigger part of this on your data project, but this says to create a survey to the one Anderson Advertising would use to survey your classmates. Consider a cheese pizza with no additional toppings. Write a statistical question. How many toppings do you like on your pizza? So, how many toppings are possible? So like one topping, right? Whoops, wrong pen. Could be one topping. Could be what? Two. Could be three. Or like four. Or what about if we did like five plus?
Yeah,
That's
a good
good,
one.
right?
Yep.
Then we would go around and we would ask people their topics.
Right.
How would you keep track of all the different answers you got here?
I would like to use tallies.
Oh,
Wow. Miss Robert, you're so smart.
I
look
try.
at that! Look at that! So then we would say, okay, how many toppings, Miss Horner, do you like?
-2, pepperoni and bacon, hands down.
How many you, Miss Grauberger?
Oh, she's
She's
kind of one of the weird ones.
I would say,
She
yeah,
like-
I do like
I know
weird
you do
pizzas.
like a lot. Mhm.
I would say 3 or 4.
What
I'd
are
say
your
3.
toppings?
Onions, green peppers, pineapples.
What? All on one pizza?
Yeah. And some days I throw jalapenos on there. So let's go with
Let's
4.
go 4. I like that. What are you?
I'm cheese.
I was going to say you're probably
Just
Is that a topping or would
No,
that
it
be
says
0?
that it couldn't be. Consider a cheese pizza with no additional topping.
Oh, so I'm not even there.
So you're not even there.
Yeah, I can't. This good job you were reading,
Oh,
because I didn't read the
a
question.
math teacher who can read.
What?
All right, so you can get the point, right? So we would go around and we would survey several people, so we would have enough data, and then we would analyze that data and display it regarding toppings on the pizza, okay? So what we're going to do, I'm going to turn the page. We're not going to do this investigation right here. Investigation 2, and don't worry about that. Down below is investigation 3. This investigation deals with how we're going to analyze the data, but we're going to talk about that once we collect the data. Not doing that, but if you go to this last page right here, we do want you, and obviously you're not with a shoulder partner, but we want you to complete these questions down here. And it says, state whether the question is a statistical question, and then explain, okay? So if you say yes, why? If you say no, why? We are going to go over these answers in class. That's the part we want you to know, because before you can write your statistical question, we got to make sure you understand what that is, okay? Then I'm going to go down here. We're skipping that part, okay? So once you complete 1 through 4, then you're done with that part, and now we want to talk about your project. All right, so here is your project that you're going to be working on. So you're going to see, you put your name, and you're going to write your question. Then you are going to collect a minimum of 15 pieces of data. We only had 2 pieces of data in our pretend pizza topping question.
Right.
So you need at least 15. Here's a hint. The more pieces of data you have sometimes, the easier it is to analyze.
Absolutely.
Some people think if they get less, it makes it easier.
So can you do more than 15 is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you are going to be graded not only on all the things we're going to do below on here, but you're going to be graded on the quality of your question. Ask a really relevant question. The number of toppings on your pizza is kind of a boring question. People have been talking about that with you since you were in 3rd grade.
True.
Also, like, don't use a question like, what is your age? Because a lot of the people you're in class with are the same age. So your data is not going to be very varied because of that. So use a question that's going to give you a lot of different pieces of data.
Yes, because down below when we find, you'll see measures of center we're going to teach you about, and then we're going to teach you about measures of variation. If you ask a question where all the numbers are 1 or 2, then you're not going to have, it's going to be really hard to do the second part.
So Ms. Grauberger, let's go back to that question. Okay, so how could we change that question if we wanted to like focus on birthdays, you know, instead of ages? Is there a way that we could change that question to make it a more statistical question in a way, do you think?
What if we talked about months?
That's what I'm
Boy,
thinking.
I'm thinking birth months,
and then you could get tallies
right?
for everybody. That's a
Right.
good. That's
What
a good
about
one.
like the day, like the 1st, the
Oh,
2nd, the 3rd?
That's a good
that's
way.
That's a good
great
one.
Yeah.
I was also thinking you could maybe look at like who was born in the spring and the
the
fall.
fall, yeah.
So ways that we can change a question to make it be more statistical.
Yes.
And
So there are ways to do that.
And I would agree. Like, here's a question I've seen in the past. How many pets do you have?
Yeah.
Everybody has 1, 2,
two, or-
maybe 3. Now, some of you are going, I have 6 pets.
Yeah.
All right. But most of the data
Mhm.
is going to be too close together. It won't be varied, and you won't be able to do the analyzing that we need to do for this project. So really think about that. So what we're going to make sure you have done is you've answered those 4 questions, and your name is on this, and you're really thinking about what your statistical question might be. Don't collect the data yet, because we want to check it, and then we'll give you an okay right there to collect the data.
Perfect.
Okay, all right. Hey, see you guys. Bye.